Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Project Lemons to Lemonade. Our next guest, believe it or not, losing 70% of his business overnight and recovering is one of his favorite business accomplishments. He's also launched over 30 brands in the sporting goods world, taking 4 of them to the #1 market share position in Canada. And when he was 8 years old, he rode his bike from Jasper to Calgary. Please welcome Chris Jones from Strategic Traction. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Daphne. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. So tell me about your bike ride. That's actually pretty fun. Those little legs.
Yeah, and they were little too. I had to have wooden pedals on or wooden blocks on my pedals so I could reach them. But my dad was a teacher and they did an outdoor ed course and they took junior high students on this bike tour. And he asked me if I wanted to go and I was in like a dirty shirt.
Oh, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
you had a bigger bike than you could handle so that the wheel was bigger and didn't turn as much? Is that?
Yeah, back then they didn't make kid-size road bikes
Oh,
very
okay.
frequently. So I got the smallest bike I could get and it was still a little big for me. It was a little dicey getting on and off.
Yeah, when you get off, you have to fly off. I remember borrowing my cousin's bike and you're flying off every time you stop. And having to jump on like a horse, right? To get back
Yeah,
on again.
it was a little exciting every now and then.
So, Chris, you and I were on the board for Entrepreneur Organization's Accelerator in Calgary, and I just loved how you ran the meetings. They were so structured, and we got so much done from one meeting to the next. And I was like, wow, this is such a cool way to get things done. And so that's actually what you teach as part of the EOS tools, and that's what your business is all about.
Yeah. Yeah. I started using the EOS tools in my sporting goods business and it seriously changed my life. I went from being just managing a chaotic company to everything was just clicking and in line and I was getting what I needed out of it. And we grew fast. And then I wanted freedom from that business. When I started, I was full time and the linchpin of the business. And ultimately, over the next 9 months, I transitioned from working full time to 3 hours a month and just became a guide advisor for the leadership team there and started another business in my free time.
That's awesome. I love it. And so are there some strategies? So you guys are super good at execution. That's what you teach.
Yeah.
I've taken one of your mini workshops and it was just such great information in them. What are you advising your clients to do right now during this COVID era?
Yeah, sure. And so EOS is a collection of tools and it gets you clear on your vision, you execute better, and you work as a healthy team. And so in times of crisis like this, it allows us to fall back onto these structured tools that help us kind of determine, hey, what are we in control of? Because there's lots of uncertainty and lots of things out of our control. And so we start to peel apart things that we're in control of and what do we focus on there. And so we determine things like, hey, what's the structure for the business in the different possible scenarios coming forward? We decide on what is the budget looking like. And then, after that, of course, follows cash flow and, what's the oxygen for the business? How are we keeping and conserving cash, increasing cash in the situation if we possibly can? And then the communication plan. What are we telling our people, our employees, our customers, our suppliers, our partners, our bankers, etc. We got to be clear on all those things right now.
Mm-hmm. And I think with people going virtual right now, it's super important to have a really detailed outline plan, like you guys do. You have the 1-page plan where you write what the goals are, because the goals are going to be different now than they might have been a month ago, right? So it's going to be
Yeah.
super different. And I also wanted to I'm so in love with the way the meeting structure works. I actually send my friends these blogs from EOS all the time, read this, and here's another one that explains it a bit more, because it's kind of hard to explain for me anyway the first time. Do we have time? Could it take a couple of minutes for you to explain how the meetings work? Because I think with virtual teams, it's so important to have efficient meetings. We're all on Zoom, right? We're on Zoom trying to meet with 10 people. And if you have messy meetings, I feel like it's disheartening, or whatever the word is, for the employees, right?
So I think at the end of the day, we've all been in meetings where we want to shoot ourselves because they're just such a huge waste of time. And so, I think the most important thing is, first of all, start on time and end on time, right? Those are really critical. Make sure there's an agenda that people understand what it is. Start by sharing some good news, one personal, one professional. So let's think positive, big picture. Report very concisely with discipline, without discussion, on our progress on our top priorities. Our numbers, are they on track or off? And anything that's off or missed, we say drop it down to the issues list. The next thing we do is we cover off customer employee headlines. What are the most important people in our world saying? And then bring a little bit of accountability into the meeting with our to-do list, like who said they were going to do what by today? Is it done or not done? But the majority of the leadership meeting, like of the 90 minutes, 60 of us spent solving issues. And so build a list of issues, opportunities, and spend the time. We call it IDSing: identify, discuss, and solve. So identify the root cause. Once you've identified the root cause, then move to discussion. And finally, what's the solve, so that you solve it for the greater good, long-term health of the organization. And so you just IDS one item at a time, issue solve, and then move to the next issue. And finally, in the last 5 minutes, just recap the meeting, conclude by recapping to-dos so everyone knows what they got to do, share any cascading messages, who's telling who, so we don't have silos. And finally, rate the meeting 1 out of 10, with 10 being best, and give each other feedback when it's not a 10. How do we make it better? So that's the short version.
The short version, yeah.
Yep.
And this is all, people can read about this in a book, right?
Yeah, the book Traction by Gino Wickman. You can also go on YouTube and search the Level 10 Meeting, EOS.
Yeah.
And you'll see a number of videos of how to run those great weekly meetings.
Right. And I love that book. It's kind of like an entrepreneur Bible, because it's so practical. I've read tons of different strategy books and different ways to or run your business. I mean, there's books on everything, but I find that the book EOS, Traction, EOS, and I guess the philosophy is just so it's so common sense. You can implement everything, and that's what you guys do. You help implement. I mean, it's one thing to read the theory, and it's another thing to apply it to your company, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love it that it's the abundance-minded approach of, if you want to buy the book and download the tools, they're free, and it costs you $25, the cost of a book. But if you want help, you bring in someone like me, and I'll get you there faster and better. And it changed my life, even just self-implementing the tools, and it worked really well. And I know it's helping you a lot, and that's awesome. You want to get to the next level, you bring in us, and
yeah, exactly.
We're really passionate about helping people figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so many ways. And then the same thing with marketing. Like, you can read anything about digital marketing, so many different points of view, but until you have a specialist implementing the right thing for you, you might just be like wasting your time and losing money doing things that don't work for your company or your company culture.
For
right?
sure.
So, yeah.
I think, like, in this time, we have the opportunity as leaders to be the lighthouse in the storm, right? There is a lot of chaos going on and a lot of uncertainty, but what can we do to be that beacon of light and help people kind of bring some calm to the situation, and let's focus on what we can focus on and move forward where we can.
Exactly.
So it's a cool opportunity.
Yeah, which is to look internally and then kind of work from there, because that's the only thing we can control right now.
This is true.